Welcome everyone. I'm really happy that there are so many of us interested in extending your knowledge or maybe just starting with usage of entity CDS views. Before we'll jump into the topic, we'll say some words about myself. So I'm working as a software architect and ABAP developer for Capgemini. That's a big consultancy company. And our office in Poland, in Wrocław, is focused mainly on the projects for big customers throughout the whole Germany, mainly, but we are also having some projects in other European countries. I'm focused on the backend, so I'm not a front-end developer. I'm architect and developer who is focused on complex business processes on the backend side, which are then exposed as a services for the front end. So during that session, I will show you what are my first experiences with entity CDS views. How many of you have already used, maybe not entity views, but the old type of CDS views, which are named as data dictionary views? Okay, great. Then I think you are the perfect audience, because there is still a lot of valid knowledge from the previous type of views, which can be used for entity views. Okay, then let's start with agenda. So first of all, I will show you the first data model, which is, I also believe, quite well known for most of us. It is so-called bill of material, BOM, or in German, Stückliste. Yeah, so I think that's a kind of classic, yeah, for any ABAP developer. Using this bill of material model, I will show you how we can select, how first of all we can build new entity views for BOM data model. Secondly, how we can retrieve data out of this CDS view using traditional select statement, which is SQL standard, because thanks God, SAP HANA database system is still compliant with SQL standard, international standard, which I think the current version is already very old because it is 2011, but it is still compliant. Then we will try to, I will show you also my unsuccessful attempts to use new entity manipulation language command with entities against this view and why it does not work. Yeah? So I hope that this presentation will let you also to maybe avoid some struggle on the projects when you will be working with a similar data model, yeah, trying to use with entities statement. Then the second model, which differs from BOM, but which is also well known, I believe, sales order data, will let us to use read entities. And I will also show you some observations from the working example this time. And the last aspect that I want to show you was a kind of little surprise to me that attempt of using read entities in update task does not work. And I will show you how it looks like. And I hope that we still will have some time for your questions. I promise you not to present too many slides. I hope that the majority of that presentation will be just showing examples on the sandbox system that we are using. That's S/4HANA system connected to Eclipse. So as if you are working with Eclipse, another question, how many of us are working with Eclipse already? Okay, that's again, so we are really modern ABAP developers because it is not so common on different projects. So probably you've already observed, yeah, that if your Eclipse is connected to the system version 757 or newer, then if you are using the standard wizard for creation of the CDS view, you may got surprised that your lovely CDS views are obsolete. Yeah, so now SAP encourages us, not yet enforces, but encourages us to start using entity views. Yeah, because we can see that the remaining data dictionary views are here recognized as obsolete. So we should, from now, yeah, from that version, we should rather, when we're creating new views, we should rather pick up one of those very first three options from that list. Data model, which I will be presenting, is shown here as the entity relationship diagram. I think it's worthwhile to take a look a moment on that diagram, because it will be easier then for you to understand those examples in the code, which I will be presenting. So you can see that BOM data model consists of those mainly of those four tables, which are marked with green background. Two of them are header tables, must and STKO. So they both form the so-called BOM header. And STPO is the table which contains components of the BOM. The idea of bill of material is that out of from the components, which are also materials, yeah, that's why we have also reference between STPO and MARA, because the field IDNRK is imported as a foreign key from MARA, so it's just the material number taken from MARA. So this IDNRK recognizes material, which is the component to build more complex material, number of which is stored in must table, in the BOM header table, in the field matener. Yeah, so that's the first data model we will be using for our exercises. And now I will jump to the system just to show you, first of all, how much in common still new entity views have with the old data dictionary ones. Yeah, so I have prepared testing class, which I can run as the console application in order to see the results retrieved from the database via the CDS views, which I have prepared. So let's first jump to see how the very first CDS view itself is built. Yeah, so if we go to here, you see that our goal is to select the data from the BOM. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing this, what I want to share. Okay, because now I think if I'm not sharing the slides, but I want to share the code, so I need to choose maybe screen one, yeah? Okay, sorry, but okay, let's try. Not yet. What I will do then, I will because I wanted to show this.
I think you have to stop the presentation.
Okay. Okay. I know. Okay, perfect. I will stop the presenting. Well, pause. Okay. All right. Let's see.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. This one. Maybe we'll just close it here. And hopefully now we will see Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I hope that the real code, the real meat of developers is much more interesting than slides. So here, via this select statement, we want to retrieve both fields belonging to the header of the BOM and also fields belonging to the components of the BOM. Yeah, so for that, I have implemented this view entity named ZLD-CRAP BOM. But in order to make this example more useful and more real life, looking real life like, I also introduced some additional conditions, yeah, during such data retrieval. Like, for example, we want to retrieve only the BOMs which belong to plants with the identifier CGN and WH01, plus I want to avoid selection of such BOM components which refer to the material of type semi-finished, yeah, here visible as HALP. So you see, this is already a bit complex solution because it combines not only the BOM itself tables, but also it requires to reach to MARA table, yeah, which is associated with the BOM components. But now let's jump to the CDS view. So what I really like very much with the new entity views is that, first of all, we do not need to declare so-called SQL view name. I really hated it, yeah, because in traditional data dictionary views, you needed, you know, to put into maximum 16 character long some meaningful name. That was horrible, yeah. And secondly, you could do it only once, yeah. So if later on you wanted to change it, it was not possible. It was stored somewhere deeply in the system, so you would need to stick to these 16 long character SQL view names forever, yeah, for as long as you needed your view. Here it is not anymore the case. We do not use this annotation with SQL view at all, yeah. So if we want to open the contents returned by entity view, we can just use name of our entity view, like here, ZLDC RAP BOM in SE16 and transaction, and voila, we have it. In this case, still the virtual data model is valid. Yeah? So if we are working with entity views, the concept of virtual data model is still in place, meaning that we are building bigger blocks out of the smaller ones. Yeah? So if we would follow top down, we will see, yeah, that our consumption view, which we want to use in ABAP application, is built of this composition view, yeah, and those keywords, consumption view, composition view, basic view. This is what virtual data model means. So if we jump here, then we will see that below we have the composite view, which returns for us all of the three tables for the BOM header components, like STKOI, MAST, and MARA. Plus, we have associated table with BOM components, which is again the composite view combining STPO and MARA tables. Yeah, so this is still valid. And now if we run our application, let's see what the results will be. The results will be presented here on the ABAP console. So we can now, okay, maybe I will keep it smaller just to be able to reach run as application console. Yeah, so here you can see that we got altogether from the system on which I'm presenting this example 29 records, but due to the fact that we are using association, which is nothing but lazy outer join, we also got some records containing BOM header information only. Yeah, so you see that starting from STL key N, which is the very first field referring to the BOM component, not to the BOM header, you can see that there are some empty values, yeah, retrieved from the components. Why is it so? Yeah, because here I have added in my select condition, I have also enforced to retrieve such BOM header positions which do not have BOM components. Yeah, so we also have some of the dot records. If we now will comment this line, then we should get only those BOMs which contains any components. Yeah, so let's clear the console and let's execute it once more. Yeah, this time we got 10 records fewer, because you see that we got only those BOMs which have any components. Yeah, so that's the first observation. These are this was my very first experiences. Now let's try to select this. There is also one important topic I want also to share with you, which is data buffering. Yeah, so if now I will jump back to the presentation, you see that another nice feature of the entity views, that the buffering mechanism is now more similar to the buffering mechanism that is offered for plenty of time for the standard database tables. Yeah, so that's really another cool option for entity views, because in data dictionary views, you could just only declare that you want to allow data buffering on the application server with such annotation. In entity views, you can additionally create so-called entity buffer. Yeah, so this entity buffer is created for our consumption view, which we were looking at a moment ago. And we can decide which type of buffering we want to use. Yeah, so if we again jump to the system and if we will open this buffering object, okay. So that's our buffering object. We can also choose which type of buffering we want to use. And it is one of those types which is also available under technical settings of any database tables in data dictionary of standard SAP GUI. Yeah? So here you can see that we can decide if we want to put all contents returned via entity view to the memory on the application server, or if we want to ensure single buffering or maybe generic one. Yeah, so that's exactly the same idea as for database tables. In our case, I have decided to buffer data using material number of the header BOM material plus plant for which this BOM exists. Yeah, so that of course buffering of the data belonging to BOM, maybe it's not a good idea on the real project life, yeah, because it is so-called hot data, meaning that it is transactional data which may change very often during different processes. But I'm just showing you this mechanism from the technical point of view, not which may be not the best idea for the real production data. Yeah. How about data? So I'm not, let's say, I have not included any OData related topics yet to this presentation because I'm fully focused on the backend. But you can having this consumption view, but it should be so-called root view. You can easily generate OData service here. I will show you later on in the second data model with the sales order. We'll show you how it works. Yeah. The buffer. You know, we are talking only. So I would say that OData doesn't matter in that case. Yeah, because I'm talking about buffering data on application server. So it means that if we are reaching for the first time to the BOM with, let's say, material with header material number 1 and plant, let's say, PL01, we will store all of the data for that BOM on the application server. So if next time we will issue select statement in ABAP application, the system will not be selecting this data from the database because this data will be already buffered on the application server. Yeah, so we are just minimizing traffic between database and application server. Yeah, and OData is the next layer that ensures transfer of data between application server and user frontend. Yeah, and here I mean traffic between database server and application server. I don't know if it is answering your doubt, or maybe you meant. Okay, perfect. All right, there are unfortunately some constraints regarding data buffering for the entity views. They are mentioned here, but you can also see from my attempts that my initial idea was to use the parameter of the CDS view, which would tell me which type of BOMs I want to select. Yeah, and I wanted to decide if I want to retrieve material views, material BOMs or equipment BOMs. And I think that maybe those of us who are more familiar with other different SAP modules could name also many other types of BOMs, because BOM model is used not only in the MM module, but in many others, in retail, in automotive, and really plenty of them. But due to the fact that if I want to use buffering mechanism, I cannot work with parameters. That's why I needed to hard code it. Yeah, of course, more elegant would be usage of parameter, but here we have this technical constraint. So this is another observation. And how we could verify if the buffering works. Yeah, because okay, we just declared buffering object, but we do not know. Yeah, of course, maybe if we would be selecting something inside the loop, we would see the difference between non-buffered CDS view and buffered. Yes, the buffered ones should ensure faster application execution. Yeah, but it's really hard to assess. Yeah, so I have found this way. I'm not sure if it is the best way, but I have found that there is such standard SAP table named ddlogstat, and you can then try to open in SE16N contents of this table, putting into the object name as a selection criteria, name of your entity view, yeah, which you supposed to be buffered, yeah. And if you will see records with the today's date, it means that it is buffered. However, sometimes you need to wait few minutes after first execution of select or read entities statement, because this table is not updated immediately after selection of the data. Yeah, so sometimes you may be surprised, oh, my buffering does not work. No, wait few minutes. Eventually, if everything is properly declared, you will see your entry in that table. Okay. Now let's jump to the read entities. So my first attempt was to read data, not via select statement, but via read entities, which is useful for real RESTful, for the real application following RESTful framework. So I was thinking, okay, the first constraint is that we need to provide for the read entities statement the full key of our view. Yeah, and because of the fact that our view contains, let's say, in case if it would be implemented via inner join to combine data from BOM component and BOM header, we would need to include into the key of this view also the key fields of the components, which are marked here with the red characters, yeah, like STLKN and STPOS. Yeah, these are just the components of the primary key of STPO table. So to me, it doesn't make sense to create as many entities, business objects or entities, as many BOM components we have. My intuition tells me that we should have one entity against one BOM object. Yeah, so it's better to use association, thanks to which we will be retrieving via read entities statement only the data based on the primary key of the BOM header. Yeah, so the rest of the data belonging to the components will be reachable via this STPO association alias. And the second thing is that in order to be able to use read entities, we need also to define so-called behavior definition plus generate class that would be implementing the behavior. So it is not so difficult because in Eclipse you can use the combination of control space, which will generate most of this code for you. So I'm really not even expert in this code. Yeah, it was mainly generated for me from Eclipse. The only thing I needed to change was because in these exercises, I do not intend to save, to modify entries of my CDS view. That's why I just commented out this persistent table and replaced it with the string with unmanaged save. And that's all what I did for that. So having those two additional development objects generated and activated, we're ready to start using read entities. So let's jump to the code again, but I will tell you in advance that it will be not working. And why, we will see it in a moment. So now let's go to this part. I will show you first what was my intention in ABAP program. So I will be using the data retrieved via select statement. Then later on, we'll just delete those records which contain duplicates considering the primary key of the header. Yeah? So here I just mentioned all of the fields belonging to the BOM header only. And then I will be looping over the BOM header records. And I wanted to use read entity inside that loop in order to retrieve in each loop iteration components of the specific BOM. And why it was not working? Yeah, I will show it to you in a moment. So let's try to uncomment it. So it was not working because first we got this complaint that we are missing behavior for association STPO. Yeah? So let's jump to the behavior definition. And let's try to uncomment it. Yeah. Then another complaint is that STP Omara is not part of composition hierarchy. So what does it tell us? Yeah, it tells us that in order to use the read entities, we cannot define the, let's say, common association. We should rather use composition relationship, not association. Okay, so let's try to use composition instead of association. Yeah, so let's jump to the RAB BOM. And you see that maybe another important aspect I have forgotten to tell you about, that for the view that we want to refer to using entity model language command like read entities, we need to add one more keyword, root. Yeah, so it is not only entity view, but it should be root entity view. Yeah? But you see that we can even reuse our previously entity view, just, you know, just add a root keyword here. Yeah? So it is still building more complex blocks out of the smaller ones. So we can reuse as much as possible from our previous attempts. Okay, so then let's try to make this relationship as a composition, not as an association. Okay, then, okay, the plant will not be available in that case, but all right, let's get rid of plant. But now we also need to put then reference to the BOM header in the child view. Yeah, so let's also go to the child view. And yeah, let's try to do it. So in that case, of course, we need also to ensure that on the projection list, we will have also the alias from the header table, from the parent table. So let's put alias here as well. And voila, this is the, only after those such deep research, it turned out why it will be not working. Yeah? The problem is the BOM data model itself. Yes, so you see that here, this message complains that we are missing some key fields in the condition linking our child view to the parent view. And why is it so? The answer can be best found in this data model, yeah, because it is not a good practice in any relational database. Doesn't matter if this is HANA, MS SQL, Oracle, whatever, yeah? We are now talking about the relational database theory that we should avoid such definition of the data model in which we are exporting only part of the primary key, yeah? Because it will lead to some, how to call it, it will lead to some problems, yeah? So you see that we have only two key fields from STKO that are imported as a foreign keys to the STPO, only STLTI and STLNR. Yeah, and STLAL and STKOZ are missing. Yeah, so that's the reason why we will never be able to define the composition in that data model. Yeah, so it means that simply for BOM data model, we are not able to use read entities. So now let's jump to such model, which will let us to complete this exercise. You see that for the sales order, we have better situation, yeah, because here the only component of the primary key from the parent table is sales order number, VBEL, which is imported to the child table. So we don't have this problem which exists in the BOM data model. So now let's play around with the VBAC. But for that, I need to revert back those changes just to ensure that everything works. Just not to have the syntax errors. This one is already here. And yeah, we need to get rid of those associations. You see that the way of commenting out for different objects also differs a bit. So for the CDS views, we are using double hash. For the behavior definition, we are using double slashes. Okay, so goodbye read entity for BOM. And welcome read entity for the sales order. So I will now clear the results from the console. We'll comment those testing methods for the BOM, and let's do the same for the sales order. However, in my opinion, this is also not perfect, and we'll tell you in a moment why. There is one aspect which is not so nice, I would say. Yeah? So what we'll be doing for the sales order. So again, yeah, we want to retrieve all of the sales order together with its header, which is here represented as a VBELN only field, which is the sales order number, plus data relevant for the items of the sales order, including also material type. So again, like in BOM case, we want to select sales order, but without those material types of the sales order positions, which are semi-finished ones. So again, that's why I put here this other than half condition. Yeah. So if we will run it, okay, maybe let's first run only the selection without entity, read entity. So if we will run it, we see that we got 8,000 entries here, yeah? And now our goal is to achieve the same result using read entities. So we will uncomment the second method. And in second method, yeah, again, we are using what was returned from the first method, but then we are eliminating the duplicated sales order numbers. And then we will be iterating sales order by sales order just to read all of the sales order positions via read entities. Yeah, so you see that for read entity statement, we need to provide the selection condition via this LT cell internal table. And this internal table should contain all of the keys of our view, of our root entity view. Yeah, like in that case, it is sales order view. Maybe also let's take a look at the sales order view implementation. You see really nothing worried. Of course, we already have composition, which turned out to be possible in that case. But because of the fact that in the select statement, we are not retrieving the semi-finished materials, here I also want to delete those materials with type of semi-finished material ones. Of course, this is not a good practice because it is contradictory to the first golden rules, which says keep result count small. So avoid such situation that you will select some data and will delete it immediately, because it's better to ensure that we will not select data which is not needed later on for the further processing. But this is just for our experiment only. So I will be deleting those entries which are standing behind semi-finished materials, just in order only to make sure that I will also get 8,000 records. But why I don't like this solution? Because in order to be able to refer to empty RT table field, which contains material type from Mara, I needed to do the following. I needed to put explicitly empty ART on the projection list of this composition view. And the question to you, why it is not so nice solution? Do you have any idea what is wrong with such declaration, which I just highlighted here? Exactly. So we are, let's say, transforming a lazy outer join to outer join, which means that no matter if we will be referring to empty ART or not in ABAP code, this outer join will always be performed via database system, yeah, which is not so good for the performance, yes. But if I would get rid of it, so now we have the perfect situation, yeah, because I was hoping that, okay, if we have alias to Mara, we should be able somehow to reach to this Mara in ABAP program. Then if I will open my testing class again, now we have the problem. Yeah, so we cannot refer anymore. Yeah, I was really hoping that maybe it would be possible. My current knowledge, I'm not saying I'm expert, yeah, because that's relatively new to me as well, yeah, but I spent some time and I think now the only solution is to put explicitly this Mara empty ART on the projection list. So hopefully now the error will be gone. Or maybe we need to open it again. Hopefully now it will be gone. Let's execute another test just to compare that we will get the same results, the same number of records. This time the execution will take much longer because I also did another thing which is not recommended by SAP. So we should rather avoid execution of read entities inside the loops, yeah, because of course in such case it's better to use select statement. Okay, I haven't cleared the console, but it is still running. If we will scroll to the very end, I think to see the results. So you see it takes significantly longer than selection from select statement. Okay, yeah, but what is good for verification of our results, that function-wise it delivers the same result. Yeah, so we will also get the same records as the ones from the select statement. All right, so I see that you are a bit, maybe already a bit tired, but that's we are just behind the very last example and last aspect I want to share with you, which is usage of read entities in update tasks. So that was another small surprise to me on the project. So what now we will try to do? Yeah, we will try to select the data via select statement, and then we will try to, okay, jump here. We will try to read them, but we will try to read them in update task function module, and then we'll issue commit work just to ensure that all of the update task will be executed. And inside update task, we have exactly the same read entities as we had in the previous example. Yeah, so let's now execute the very last example. Okay, let's activate it. Again, it will take a bit. So this is the result of select statement, but let's scroll to the very end. You see that we got commit has failed. This is something which I have implemented here. So you see that sysuberce after commit work has failed. Why it has happened so? Let's then see in our good old friend named S22. So S22 tells us that statement read entities is not allowed with this status. And scrolling further, we will see that that was a bit surprise to me, because I understand that we should not use modify entity inside update task, but why not read entities? But it turned out that also read entities does not work. So it is also not so obvious, but the workaround is just use select statement against your entity views if you need to run such selection as a part of the update task. So that is, let's say, the last issue, the last topic I wanted to share with you. Yeah, I think that was the last part. Now it's time for questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions so far? Oh, just first.
Thank you.
Any questions so far? Oh.
Yeah, one thing with buffering, you showed some limitations, but just had a general question on buffering. Is it possible to buffer two tables or like, let's say a dynamic column or something like that?
Could you maybe repeat, because
with a buffering?
Maybe let's wait until people will leave, because then I think we will not have the background noise. So sorry, let's wait a moment.
Or maybe you can go to this limitations on the buffering.
No, let's
Okay.
Let's wait a moment. Please repeat your question now.
Okay. So with this entity buffering concept, is it still possible to buffer, let's say, two different table results together?
You mean to buffer, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Two different tables, like, I have a, let's say,
Yeah,
a dynamic column, which is combining like two different fields.
Of course, yeah, because, we are, as I said, we are building more complex blocks out of the simpler ones, yeah? So on the very bottom level, we have basic views, for which we also need to declare them as bufferable, yeah, with this annotation I was showing. Then you have composition views, and they can be combined of as many tables as you want, but you don't need to buffer the tables, yeah? Because the buffering then will be applicable for the CDS entity view only. Yeah, so if you will buffer entity view, even if the table itself is not bufferable, you still will have your data buffered, but only if you are referring to if you are selecting data from the CDS view, of course, not from the table, yeah, which is not buffered. Okay. I don't know if this will answer your question.
Yeah, I'll sure give it a try. Thank you.
Okay.
The next. While you're here, also on buffering, just curious if you know what the, I guess, enhancement for buffering if you're on HANA. if the data is already in memory, if how much advantage, or it depends on a specific
okay, yeah, I know,
situation?
yeah, because so that's what people quite often ask me, hey, why you take care of data buffering? Because HANA is all in memory database, yeah, so it's not fully, still the buffering data on the application server gives you a lot of advantages. Because I was working on one project for a big retailer company when we were dealing with millions of records. And it turned out that despite the fact that HANA is, of course, all in memory database, the HANA database server does not deal so good with plenty of parallel tasks as good as sub-application server do. Yeah,
So, very specific situation.
So first of all,
Yep.
we are eliminating traffic between database server and application server. And secondly, even if this connection between database server and application server is not the problem, still better scalability can be achieved via application server rather than via HANA database. This is,
Okay.
I'm not
Yep.
maybe expert, but these are my just observations here from the project when we were dealing with really huge volume of data.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
A very, very short one, please, because it's gonna be very short. 2 years ago, I tried to use entities and I couldn't because I wanted to do a union.
Okay.
That's still a restriction, or
Yeah, I think, yeah, so for sure, Union also does not allow you buffering, yeah? That's, I'm sure, but I never tried to connect two entity views via Union. So maybe you're right, eh? Maybe there is still such limit, yeah? You were trying, yeah? So you know better than me. Well, I think you probably know it better than me, yeah? Because, yeah, I was never trying it, yeah.
I think there's
Mhm.
the answer incoming.
I think Union works now with. I think Union works now with your entity buffers, but we can do it on offline. We can just have a short look if you have time. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Okay.
I'm sure it works, but let me just cross check. We can do it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So
Cool.
now
Okay.
we're out of time, I think. Hardly on the on the border.